Hey, soldiers, we've got an American citizen being detained by the Ukrainian government in Ukraine. He is alleging torture. We're going to bring some focus to the case of Gonzalo Lira. His crime? Free speech. Yes, you heard me right. He's being detained for speaking his mind in Ukraine, which is supposed to be an ally of the United States right now. So let's flesh this thing out by first taking a look at why he's being held, who he is. Then let's examine some of the things that should be done in order to fix this situation. And then finally, let's talk about what Gonzalo Lira is responsible for in terms of finding himself in this situation. We're going to be totally balanced on this. Now, Gonzalo Lira, he has a YouTube channel and he's very active on social media. He was a part of this thing known as the manosphere a little bit, where, they give advice to young men kind of thing. It's a genre on social media. And he is a businessman, okay, doing business throughout the world. He was born here in the United States of America. He has citizenship in Chile as well. Chilean American blogger Gonzalo Lira, who was initially detained by Ukrainian intelligence in May for pro-Russian sympathies, has reportedly been rearrested as he was trying to make his way out of the Ukraine into Hungary. His crime? Publishing YouTube videos critical of the war and the U.S. Kiev NATO stance. Now, if Gonzalo Lira could play basketball very well, maybe the State Department would have a different, position, be more, adamant about what's going on with his situation. But as it stands, to my knowledge, he has no basketball prowess, and this is what the State Department has to say.
Yeah. Cosgrove with the Gray Zone. So back in May, I asked you about Gonzalo Lira. He was the U.S. citizen arrested in Ukraine for posting dissident content online, and you told me the State Department was aware of his arrest in May. And we learned last night through a series of tweets by him that he had been tortured in the Ukrainian prison, and he was now on a motorcycle with a broken rib trying to flee to the Hungarian border. And so I'm wondering, if this is true, given the State Department knew of his arrest and his detention, how has this been allowed to occur? We have a U.S. citizen being detained and perhaps tortured in the prison of one of our strongest allies.
Well, you lost me with the perhaps and the if this is true. I think I'd want to verify those reports before I commented on it. Alex, go ahead.
Is the State Department investigating?
I just want to verify anything before I comment. Go ahead, Alex.
Now, I don't know about you. That seemed pretty derisive and dismissive. I don't know if they are doing something behind the scenes, but the State Department was much more forthcoming when it came to the case of Brittany Griner, who was held in Russia for the violation of their laws. And listen, Russia wasn't even an ally, okay? And that was a rock-solid law that Brittany Griner violated. Did she deserve 9 years in prison for that? Personally, I don't think so, but I don't run the Russian government, okay? I do know that I've traveled, and there are certain countries that I wouldn't enter with an aspirin, all right, if I want to remain on the safe side. All right, Lira, once again could face lengthy imprisonment or even torture, given previous allegations which surfaced during his first detention. But he's been shunned by the Biden administration and ignored by the mainstream media. All right, and he's been ignored by the media for a few reasons. Number one, his stance on this whole issue is balanced. He is not, he does not toe the party line here, that Ukraine is just pure as the driven snow, and, Russia is, the devil, basically. He's got a much more nuanced view of this and has put that out there. And so therefore the Biden administration is just basically letting him waste away under the purview of the Ukrainian authorities, who have been kind of heavy-handed, if you are to believe what Lira has said about his treatment over there. You can look it up. I'm not going to go into it, but it is some of the allegations are very, very brutal. So much for democracy, free speech, and the rule of law. Well, we see that here in America, right? I mean, you know what I mean? You can't really come out and say what you want to say here in America without facing retribution for some political positions. Others, you know, you can talk about things like, hypersexualizing children, and you be celebrated here in America. And if you say you don't agree with that position, then you're vilified. Lira simply doesn't have the correct viewpoint on the war, and thus Washington doesn't bat an eye over his fate. All right, so we saw with the State Department, how they reacted to it. On Tuesday, Lira posted multiple videos explaining that he was attempting to escape Ukraine into neighboring Hungary. Now, what can be done about this? Well, it's very easy. Considering all of the equipment and resources, financial support we've given Ukraine, I'm sure that Biden can pick up a phone and call Vladimir Zelensky. The phone in Zelensky's pocket, not the one on his desk in his office. That phone rings, he reaches into his cargo pants, because, Zelensky always runs around and he's got to be G.I. Joe of Ukraine. That's how they've packaged him. So he reaches into the cargo pants and he pulls out the phone, and it's Joe Biden. And Joe Biden says, hey, listen, you got an American citizen that's being detained, and there are allegations of torture, which we're going to talk about. But for now, you need to get him on an airplane, and you need to get his ass back over here to the United States of America ASAP. Easy. That's all that needs to be done, okay? And to bring this guy out of this situation. Lira was due in a Ukrainian court this week, but essentially skipped bail and tried to make it across the western border, where he was hoping to be granted asylum. His initial apprehension on May 1st by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, was for producing and disseminating materials that justify the armed aggression of Russia. This included a piece of analysis posted to YouTube called Simply Ukraine, a primer. While Lira had not been heard from in months through his typically active social media accounts, he suddenly this week began posting again and documented his ordeal, summarized in a first post report as follows. This is Lira. According to Lira, he was beaten and tortured because the Security Service of Ukraine wanted to extort his entire savings, which amounted to approximately $100,000 when considering the value of confiscated computers and phones. Following his arrest, a judge ruled that he should remain in custody until his trial. Notably, in April of 2022, Lira had been detained by the SBU before, but was released after a week without any charges filed, likely due to public pressure. And here you can see some scenes from his arrest and his court hearing in May. His family has called these proceedings a kangaroo court. He's got a tweet out there. We'll show you that. He says, I'm posting this thread. He posted this on July 31st. I'm posting this thread just as I'm getting to the border checkpoint. I'm also posting videos on the two channels I have access to, the Round Table and Gonzalo Lira. Again, if you don't hear from me in the next 12 hours, well, I'm on my way to a labor camp. Wish me luck. All right, so that's what's going on. Now, how could he have avoided this? Let's just be clear about this. When they released him back in 2022, he should have left the country then if he had the opportunity to. Even going back further than that, if I'm an American and I'm not a journalist or in the military or in some intelligence service, I'm getting the hell out of a war zone. Gonzalo Lira knew that that war was coming, and he stayed, and he did that on his own accord. And then he started to produce videos about his thoughts re the war, and his sympathies lied more so with the Russians. And so, hey, look, you're in a war zone. You oppose the country that you are sitting in physically. You might have some problems, all right? Then the other thing is, Gonzalo, move in silence. Why are you still posting your actions and whereabouts on social media? I am sure the Ukrainians are reading that. Just like when you tried to get to Hungary, all right, you put that out there. And I'm sure they picked up on that and they were able to apprehend you. So leave social media alone until you're able to successfully get out of the country, and then pick it up again on the other side when you're safe. You're not going to get any help from the United States of America. All right. They hate you. So you're on your own. And just don't help them apprehend you. Okay, it's as simple as that. So in my estimation, Lira should have left when he heard the war was coming, and gotten out of Dodge. Okay, so look, to be perfectly fair and honest, a lot of this brought it on himself. Right, so I do wish him well. I don't want to see anybody tortured. Okay, I think that they should lay off. This guy is a YouTuber, and he's got a big audience. And look, they risk making a martyr out of this guy. All right, he's not a military man. He's not. He doesn't look like he's in the best of shape now. Okay, and probably not after being in a war zone and being stressed out by all these things. If they do something to this guy and he passes away, okay, due to the stress of it, or they just disappear him, Americans should be outraged, whether you agree with the war or not, whether you agree with America's support of Ukraine or not. This would be an outrage. So I just wanted to try to bring some focus to the plight of Gonzalo Lira. But again, we're talking about United States of America, and we went to bat for basketball stars. Even Donald Trump, what's that guy's name? Alonzo Ball, one of the Ball sons, got picked up in China for allegedly stealing sunglasses. And Trump went to bat for that guy, okay, and saved him from a Chinese labor camp, all right? Got him out of there. So can we do the same for this guy? I don't care if Brittany Griner uses vapes, marijuana vapes. If that's what she wants to do, that's fine. It's what she wants to do. I didn't think she deserved all that time they were looking at giving her in Russia for that crime. You steal sunglasses from China, you're a complete idiot, all right? But do you deserve to be jailed for that? I personally don't think so. But again, I don't run Russia, I don't run China, and I don't run the Ukraine. But I am an American citizen, and I implore the State Department to look into this and to act and intervene. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.